It has been 94 days since the Economic Injury Disaster Loan, that's the EIDL, or EIDL for those cool kids that like acronyms, as authorized by Congress in the CARES Act, was finally signed into law. This act tasked the SBA to provide emergency loans to U.S. businesses impacted nationwide by the pandemic shutdown. Originally, this was also supposed to include a $10,000 grant to all businesses that applied, payable within 3 days of applying. However, that's not exactly how it played out. Not far into the rollout, the SBA decided to unilaterally change the rules in what turned out to be one heck of a cluster. Fellow YouTuber Aubrey Janik is reporting in her channel, link is in the description below, that EIDLs are being approved and at least the grant part has been funded quickly for new applicants.
I helped a number of different people apply for the EIDL program. I helped my sister, who's a teacher and tutors kids on the side. She applied for the EIDL program. She was approved and funded for the grant in just 3 days. I helped a fellow Tura host of mine apply for the EIDL program, and he was approved and funded in just 4 days. I've helped a number of different people with different levels of side hustles and side businesses, and so far all of them have been approved and distributed the EIDL grant. So the $1,000 per employee up to $10,000.
Now, this is great for new applicants, but what about us that applied in the very beginning and we're still waiting? Have we been shafted? Hello and welcome to Stephen Carlson Show. I'm Stephen Carlson. I'm a tech entrepreneur, real estate investor, author, YouTuber, and a volunteer paramedic. Wow, this has been one heck of a ride. No, not the fun ride that you get at theme parks. No, this was one of those ones that leave your rear end hurting. Part of me is completely understandable and compassionate to the SBA staff that have been completely overwhelmed with tens of millions of EIDL applications. But there's also part of me that has zero compassion for the system, the bureaucracy that when faced with this daunting task, rather than put an entrepreneur mindset to tackling the problem head on, they use the government red tape mindset to make the problem even worse. See, entrepreneurs, we're just a special breed. It doesn't matter your gender or your race. If you are an entrepreneur, you have a very unique way of looking at the world. When you see a problem that people are experiencing, you step back and analyze it. Very quickly, an entrepreneur can offer a plan of action to tackle the situation and provide a market solution that addresses the problem. A government, on the other hand, tends to love red tape, rules, procedures, and policies. It doesn't matter Republican or Democratic run administration. Government, over time, always expands in scope. Back in my April 23rd video, I proposed a solution that would have fixed most of the EIDL problems and would have nearly guaranteed a successful rollout. Instead, sadly for all of us, the SBA failed to provide a seamless experience. Of course, whining and complaining about this will not fix the problem. So what exactly is the situation and what can be done about it? Well, it appears from Aubrey's reporting that new applicants are receiving their grant money, and many of them are getting it within the time frame outlined in the CARES Act of 3 days. There's no word on the timeline of the actual loan, only the $1,000 per employee grant part. As many of you guys know, I own 2 businesses and both of them have applied for the EIDL program. In order, I applied first for my real estate holding company, and second, I applied for one of my tech startups about 15 minutes later. I say first versus second only as a way to illustrate the order they were submitted, because this goes directly against what the SBI claims that all EIDL applications are processed in the order they were received. I think, at least in my opinion, and remember I am just some dude on the internet, but I believe that EIDL applications are sorted and triaged. If they have any questions regarding what you filled out in your application, they put you to the side in a group that I refer to as "we'll get to those someday." The reason why I mention this is out of my first and second company EIDL applications submitted, the second was fully approved, loan document signed, and my money deposited into my account. But the first company, nothing. No portal welcome email, no grant advance, nothing. Now, I've made a few other videos which I will link here that show my less than pleasant experience calling SBA reps and how that basically was a complete waste of time. On June 10th, which was 72 days after I applied for EIDL, I received an email for my first business application, the one that I'm still waiting on the loan. The email said, in part, advance status update. We are reaching out in regards to your request for an EIDL advance as part of application number. We are unable to successfully verify and validate all of your information in order to process your advance. We would like to invite you to update your advance request with corrected information. Your EIDL loan application is still being processed separately. I quickly followed the link and filled out the required information. And as of today, I have heard nothing back from them. I made another YouTube video just on this email and I covered it in greater detail. The link is in the description and in the little card above. A friend of mine that also applied for his EIDL on the same day I applied, about 15 minutes later, received the same email on June 10th that I did. He also followed the link and filled out his information. Then, last week, he received another email from the SBA. This email told him that he was denied because the SBA was only accepting agriculture applications at the time. Do what? Alright, this was completely confusing to him and honestly confusing to me because he applied during the main enrollment period before the SBA limited the applications only to agricultural-based businesses, which, incidentally, appears to be a direct violation of the CARES Act, and is another one of the unilateral decisions by the SBA that caused the Senate subcommittee to chew out the SBA administrator. Anyways, let's get back to the email. With my assistance, he filled out an appeal with the SBA, both via email and certified return receipt U.S. mail. This way he could track the date and prove that they received his appeal. It has only been a few days since he sent the email, and he's yet to hear anything back. But that's to be expected. I hope to hear back something within the next 30 days after he sent his appeal. The post office return receipt did come back in the mail signed, so we know that the SBA has received his written appeal. Only time will tell what happens to him. In all three cases, none of these applications ever received the grant money as promised. My first application is still in limbo. That's the one I've been talking about here in this video. My second business application was approved and funded in about 60 days. Still, never received any grant money, only the fully funded loan amount. And lastly, my friend's business has received no grant money either. Maybe it was because we applied in the very beginning, before the SBA really had their systems entirely up to speed. But that shouldn't matter. In fact, that is total BS if businesses applying now are being paid their grant money before companies that applied months ago. Look, I have no animosity towards other small businesses that just lucked out and got paid. Hey, more power to them. Now, my anger here is with the SBA and how they've continuously dropped the ball throughout this entire rollout. Earlier in this video, I featured a clip from Aubrey. Her channel regularly posts excellent content that I think you guys will love.
Now, as you guys know, the EIDL application was closed to general businesses for about a month and a half. It was only open to agricultural-based businesses, and last week they reopened it to general businesses. And with that, anybody that had a business, a side hustle, a side gig, or some sort of side project where they made income could apply for the EIDL program. Now, I cannot stress this enough how much I recommend that you apply for the EIDL program if you are somebody that has a side hustle, a side gig, or a side business. Whether you mow lawns on the weekend, you tutor kids, you drive for Uber, Lyft, DoorDash, Instacart, you host on Turo, Airbnb, or Get Around, whatever the case is, if you have a side gig or a side hustle or a legitimate business, then you qualify for the EIDL program. And you're going to be paying for this program one way or another through your taxes. And so you may as well take advantage of this program while it's available to you.
Check out her channel. The link is in the description. What other channels do you guys watch and love? Who should I feature here next? Thank you very much for watching. Please make sure you click like and subscribe. Doing so really helps with the YouTube algorithm. Thanks, and I'll see you there on the next one.